A visit to the remote frozen wilderness of Antarctica may not sound like a paradise holiday, but Sai's main travel goal in life was to have his photo taken in every continent. With just South America and Antarctica left to tick off, a year's worth of planning and a few sleepless nights saw us finally achieve what seemed impossible for many years of our lives. And we saw lots of penguins too. So how easy was it to travel to this final continent? And is the Drake Passage a scary sea crossing in real life as you read in books and magazines? And can you really do this sort of trip on a tight budget? Well, keep watching to see how we fared.
Well, the Cook's Explore travel budget wouldn't stretch to a full-blown Antarctica expedition holiday, so we took the cheapest Antarctica cruise itinerary that we could find through a reputable travel agent. And the Norwegian Cruise Line itinerary on the Norwegian Star was the best low-budget option that would allow me to achieve my dream. And whilst this trip doesn't allow you to set foot ashore in Antarctica, it does take you scenic cruising to both Paradise Bay and Elephant Island, which was the location of one of the greatest adventures and survival stories of all time, and the infamous exploits of Sir Ernest Shackleton are also an inspiration for me.
So the big day had arrived and our journey to the airport started at 1 a.m. and it was a fittingly cold, icy morning in the UK with sub-zero temperatures. Airport parking was easy and Heathrow Terminal 5 was only just waking up.
Well, I'm proper excited because we're on our way to Buenos Aires. Can you believe it? Wow. So we're here at Heathrow. We've had a bit of a shaky start to the journey because our travel agent hadn't booked us any hold luggage, believe it or not. So when we got here, we were very lucky actually, because the lady on check-in saw that this was a mistake and kindly waived the additional luggage fee for the journey to Madrid, which is the first part of our long journey to Buenos Aires. So this is a two flight leg. We're going to Madrid, then we're going from Madrid to Buenos Aires. It's about 25 hours door to door for us because we set off at like 1 o'clock this morning. But how exciting. We're going to Buenos Aires and then we're heading down to Antarctica. Wow, trip of a lifetime. Bucket list all over. I get to fulfill my lifelong travel goal of having my photo in every continent. Me and Nettie together everywhere around the world. How amazing will that be?
Our first hop to Madrid was a quiet if short flight with British Airways, some breakfast and a few extra minutes of sleep. Our layover in Madrid airport also passed quickly before the 14-hour flight to Buenos Aires.
This journey on Air Iberia was long and tortuous, and made longer by the plane having to divert around a tropical storm mid-flight. Uncomfortable seating, frequent turbulence and scant service from the cabin crew made this feel like an ordeal. But 4 in-flight movies later and less than 1 hour's sleep, the near 14-hour flight ended and we found ourselves in Buenos Aires.
So Sai, you're in Argentina. How has the journey been?
Well, we've made it here to Buenos Aires. It's been a long journey. It's been well over 24 hours now, I think. The flight from Heathrow to Madrid was brilliant on British Airways. Really cool, really comfy plane. The flight from Madrid to Buenos Aires on Iberia, that wasn't so hot. Seats weren't comfy, food wasn't great, and the stewards weren't that attentive either. Didn't get much to drink, so quite parched. We'd booked transfers from the airport here to our hotel in Buenos Aires, but our flight was delayed due to bad weather. That was bad weather en route, so we had to take a detour. And that's meant we've touched down about 50 minutes later than planned. Now our transfer has waited for us, but they're doing a waiting charge. It's going to cost us 15 extra US dollars just to keep him here whilst we get our bags and we get out to the taxi rank. What we have checked is that we can actually just get an Uber for like 20 quid into town to the same hotel. So we're not really, it's actually cost us more to book the transfer through the travel agent and keep him waiting here than it would have done if we'd have just booked an Uber. And I think actually in hindsight, we should have just booked an Uber. At any rate, we're here. Hey!
Made it!
And importantly, so are our cases.
So our first money-saving tip is to simply use an Uber for your airport transfers.
We've just met up with Karina, our taxi driver. Now we're just going to head off to the hotel. It's a bit manic here at the Buenos Aires airport and it's 11 o'clock at night. chaos. Anyway, looking forward to some sleep.
The taxi ride into Buenos Aires was about 30 minutes, and our driver dropped us off at the Savoy Hotel. And amazingly, we had booked this opulent hotel at a bargain rate. It is one of the oldest hotels in the city and is still in great condition, with gorgeously sculpted walls and ceilings.
We checked in, found our room, showered, and then threw ourselves into our very comfortable bed. Oh, just what we needed, but not before Si insisted checking which way the water runs down the plug hole. Oh, why did I marry a scientist? It's sometimes amazing that your body doesn't let you sleep, even when you do desperately need it. You look knackered, Si.
Morning from Buenos Aires. It's about 7:30 in the morning, and we're in the Savoy Hotel, which sounds posher than it is. It is quite nice, though, to be honest. We got a good rate for it as well. We've got a nice room. We've got a balcony out there. It's quite noisy. It overlooks a busy street, and it's quite a low balcony as well. So I'm not sure I'll spend too much time on that. But today we've got one day to explore Buenos Aires, and we decided to take a tour with Viator. It's like a private city tour. Cost just over £100. So looking forward to that and exploring what this beautiful city has to offer.
We hit breakfast, which was fine, and picked us up a little, to be honest.
Morning, Nettie.
Hello.
How are you feeling after yesterday?
Oh my God, it's a purely exhausting day. My Fitbit is showing me to have 3 hours and 4 minutes sleep. So very exhausting, not a lot of food. But look where we are. Absolutely stunning.
Very noisy though, isn't it? Look at that
Very
down
noisy. It wasn't first thing this morning though, was it? So
there. Okay.
I'm looking forward to see what we find out today.
We took a quick walk to a nearby souvenir shop before our guide Pablo arrived at the hotel to collect us, and we snapped some tourist-perfect pictures while we waited.
Pablo, our guide, messaged us to say he'd arrived and collected us right outside the hotel. We didn't realise at this stage how much fun lay ahead, but this soon unfolded as we sped across the city, and given this, it seems strange that our first stop was a cemetery.
Okay, we're on our Viator tour. We're in the famous Recolleta Cemetary in Buenos Aires, and our guide has just dropped us at the front gate. We've just had to buy tickets at 16,000 pesos each, and we're kind of left to our own devices to find our way around. So not a guide inside the cemetery itself, but he's waiting for us outside once we get back. And this looks like an amazing place.
It does look amazing.
It looks incredible. The mausoleums here are
Wow,
fabulous.
look at that. Look at that up there.
Okay, what a show now.
Wow. Look. That there. Can you see?
Just incredible. Anyway, we're going to have a wander around here. We're going to try and find the Eva Perón mausoleum, which is, I think, is the most famous one in here. But we'll let you know how we get on.
You can understand Pablo for not wanting to visit a cemetery each day, but the Recolleta Cemetary draws visitors from all over and is famed for impressive mausoleums housing the great and good of Buenos Aires society. But it's a cemetery that houses family burials going back nearly 200 years, and Buenos Aires famous celebrities are interred in their family mausoleums alongside the mausoleums of everyday people. Politicians, actors, and of course Eva Perón are all laid to rest here.
So this is quite a place. I mean, it sounds a bit grim going to the cemetery, but there's cemeteries and there's cemeteries. I mean, this place is fantastic.
Stunning.
Absolutely stunning. The architecture and the way they've done the mausoleum here for the families is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, really enjoyable. We're going to move on now and go to the next part of our tour.
Really, isn't it?
Very thought-provoking. And yes, we did get to see Eva Perón's mausoleum. She's buried with her family. Lovely. And there's still flowers on the door now.
There is, yes.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Then Pablo drove us through the city past the impressive university buildings and to a piece of modern sculpture that's become a symbol of modern-day Buenos Aires.
The Fleur de Lys mechanical sculpture was designed to open and close in line with sunrise and sunset, with sequenced lights showing off its beautiful shape. However, a recent tornado damaged the sculpture and it has lost one of its petals and no longer opens and closes. Sadly, there are no plans to repair it currently.
Selfies taken, we then headed down to Buenos Aires seafront, where we stopped right alongside a beautiful spot with an impressive pier and fishing club building. The Rio de Plata, on which Buenos Aires lies, is the estuary of a mighty river with its source in the Andes, and as it meets the Atlantic, it mixes with the seawater, and you can clearly see the sediments carried by the river, giving it the name Silver River.
Next, a diversion to another recreational place and riverside area, Puerto Madero.
This riverside walk is used by joggers, walkers and those looking for a chilled time alongside a local nature reserve. It's quite a spot with a wonderful view across the river, which is blooming with plants and wildlife.
Pablo said we must try the street food here, and specifically a churri. This locally made Argentine hot dog style snack is rich with flavours, but to get the full effect, you need all the trimmings.
Onion, garlic, red peppers, and green peppers. Don't have green peppers, but it's the same. Green. It's just for the color. And this is chimichurri. This is a mix of different species with oil, some hot water, and vinegar and salt.
So the taste test.
Right, let's try this.
So this is a churri. Go for it, Nelly. It's like an Argentinian hot dog with all the trimmings. Out of 5?
5.
Oh, delicious. Right.
Let's go.
Yum, and we don't want to leave this lovely place. You enjoying yourself, guys?
So we're at Puerto Madero, and Pablo has just taken us and bought us a bit of lunch. We had a churri, which was really good.
Absolutely delicious. I gave it 5 out of 5.
And what a lovely spot this is as well, just right down
Amazing.
by a sort of a river with all grasses in it and a nature reserve over there. This is some kind of promenade where people just come here and relax and chill, and there's street vendors, street food, all that kind of stuff. What a lovely
It
place.
is certainly a place to sit and chill, isn't it?
Really nice,
Yeah.
really nice. I
Lovely
wonder where he's
place.
going to take us next.
Right.
Then off to Playa de Mayo, site of the Pink House or Presidential Palace, and the scene of the horrific massacre of where the military tried to overthrow the Perón government in 1956.
Okay, we've been dropped off in central Buenos Aires. We're just outside the government buildings. Pablo's dropped us off here. We just got some time on our own.
This is called the Pink Building, this one, isn't
Well, we'll
it?
show
we're
you
walking
that in
up
a second.
to.
Yeah, we can just
Yeah.
show that in a second as we walk around. And then looks like there's some kind of demonstration here from Venezuelan population. Looks like the ousted government leader from Venezuela, who's ousted recently, is in residence with the president of Argentina. We think that's what's going on.
Yep.
There's a little bit of a demonstration going here. Obviously, he wasn't that popular.
No.
But anyway, we'll have a look round and see what. There's a few monuments and things here, and there's a cathedral over the way, and we'll take some footage and try and work out what we can see.
Yeah.
We decided we would deliberately not film any of the protesters so as not to agitate them, and instead focus on the buildings and monuments.
So this is the Pink House that Annette mentioned.
Yeah, and also we were told by Pablo that every morning the Argentinian president, he comes out here somewhere on the balcony and waves to the people.
Yeah, so we're assuming that he's in residence now, which is why there's an awful lot of guards. Oh, there's some ceremonial guards coming out of the door there. Yeah, there's timing. I wonder what they're doing there. Okay, I'm assuming the two presidents, or the ex-president of Venezuela and the Argentinian president, are inside.
And we had timed this right, as the changing of the guard ceremony took place right in front of us.
The monuments in the square are a reminder of the role of conflict in the history of this beautiful part of the world, and also mark the creation of Argentina as an independent nation with its own rights to self-determination. And across the square you can view the huge obelisk down the avenue that also marks this.
And also we took a look inside the beautiful cathedral. Just stunning. However, in a moment of total muppetry, well, you tell them what you've done, Si.
Well, like a complete idiot, I've just dropped my phone, and my phone's obviously still working, but my microphones have broken, so I'm going to be relying on the phone mics now for the rest of this trip, which is not good.
How the phone still works is a mystery, because the phone fell from height out of the selfie stick and it hit the ground with an almighty clunk. But for the second time in a few months, I had broken the plug-in microphones that we use for vlogging.
And, oh look, the guards are coming back.
Undeterred, we pressed on with the tour, and Pablo drove us to San Telmo, where we were able to change some dollars into pesos before wandering into the stunning San Telmo indoor market.
This wonderful market had a real buzz, and locals and tourists alike enjoyed the smells and tastes of all the wonderful local food and drink. Be rude not to taste and try some of this fare, and that's exactly what Pablo had in mind.
And here we sat and enjoyed a local craft beer and some very tasty empanadas, whilst we sat chatting with Pablo, who was such an interesting guy with a lovely way about him, very likeable and friendly and knowledgeable too, and this was a wonderful moment, just like catching up with an old friend.
Wandering through San Telmo was an utter delight, and we stumbled upon an incredible Argentinian tango in one of the squares, something you really can't envisage happening in the streets of Northampton.
show this couple put on for the onlookers, with traditional dances weaved in as well as classical tango. Trips to tango shows in Buenos Aires' many theatres are a very popular activity for tourists but can be very expensive. But as we found with Pablo, actually seeing amazing dancers showcase this intimate and passionate dance style can be easily found on many streets in this city, if you know where to look for it, of course. Thank you, Pablo.
Time was flying by, but Pablo had one more place he wanted to show us, and before long we were back in the car heading into the famous La Boca area of the city.
And football crazy fans of Boca Juniors flocked to visit the stadium and gift shop. This was some sight, but we didn't stop as our destination was the famous waterfront and the Caminito district with its striking architecture and colourful houses, as well as plentiful shops and bars.
Now a magnet for tourists, it was once a neighbourhood for immigrants looking to make a new life in Argentina.
The atmosphere was buzzing, and this country's football prowess is in your face everywhere, with statues and paintings of Messi and Maradona everywhere.
And even more street tango too. This was a brilliant end to a brilliant tour, and Pablo was the perfect guide and host. But this tour sadly had to end, and Pablo dropped us back at the Savoy. So how did you rate your tour, guys?
We've had an amazing day with Pablo.
It's been fabulous, hasn't it?
We've been to some incredible places around Buenos Aires, and Pablo, got to say, what an amazing tour guide. He is so personable, so likeable, lots of great conversation.
Loads of knowledge.
Loads of knowledge.
And brilliant. Took us to some really brilliant places, and he even took us to find some sort of Argentinian food and stuff, didn't he?
Yeah, and nothing was too much problem.
No.
We didn't have pesos because we just got flew in last night, but he sorted it all out. He paid, and then when we finally got to somewhere where we could change money, we just paid him back. Absolutely quality city tour, city guide. Can't recommend it enough.
No.
And we will stick his details in the description of the video below because
call Pablo if you come here, definitely.
Pablo Serini, I think it is. We'll put the details anyway, and you can book him direct. Obviously, we booked him through Viator, so we found him that way, so you can do it that way. But obviously,
just do it directly.
It'd be cheaper if you book it direct. So, do look up Pablo when you come into Buenos Aires and book his tour. I mean, we saw such lovely sights. The cemetery. We went down to the fishing pier. We went to the lovely esplanade where we had that lovely food, that sausage, and all of that.
Chori,
We went to La Boca. We saw La Boca Juniors Stadium. We went to La Caminito with the colourful houses. I mean, we've seen so much. Awesome.
And that lovely market was fantastic as well, wasn't it?
And the beer. So tasty.
Fabulous.
Absolutely fantastic. All it needs now is a good Argentinian whiskey, if I can find one.
They don't do it.
So we'll just have to settle for a decent Argentinian Malbec instead when we go out tonight. Anyway, enjoy.
At this point, our energy levels ran out, and we quickly found ourselves in a deep slumber.
A couple of hours later, we awoke, but wondered whether we ought to take up Pablo's restaurant recommendations across the city. But the evening had slipped by, so we simply wandered from the hotel into the city centre, and then Nettie saw her culinary nemesis.
Oh dear, guess what we've spotted?
Still on a mission to find KFC as good as it tasted back in the 1980s, Nettie's mission has seen her try KFC around the world, and today was Buenos Aires' turn.
Right, I'm trying the KFC from around the world. So, Buenos Aires, what are you going to be like? Let's try it. That's really good. Out of 5. Hang on. I'd say 4. 4. I'll try the chips. The chips are very similar to what they used to be in yesteryears as well. Yeah. Good.
Good? Okay, we can disagree on some things, I suppose. A 2.5 at best for me.
And our mood lifted further when we found a bar filled with locals and enjoyed a rather good bottle of Malbec. Had to be done. With our second wind now also waning, we returned to the hotel where a cheeky cocktail provided a perfect end to a perfect day.
Well, we've had an absolutely brilliant day here in Buenos Aires. We went on our city tour with Pablo Zerini. He was a fantastic guide, really enjoyed that. But one of the lowlights of the day was when I dropped my phone and my phone fell out of my selfie stick and bounced across the tarmac right outside the government buildings just as they were changing the guard. It was, I think, heart in the mouth moment as my phone just literally just went on the tarmac. Anyway, luckily my phone was okay, but I did break my microphones and I was wondering whether I was going to be able to continue doing these vlogging series. But as luck should have it, we did tonight find a little mobile phone shop that managed to sell me a replacement microphone. So whilst it's not dual microphones, it should hopefully get us through the rest of this holiday and we can continue vlogging. So what a day in Buenos Aires, and we're finishing up. We're in the Savoy, we've got a lovely cocktail. So here's a mojito. Cheers, Buenos Aires. Oh, delicious, absolutely great.
And we eventually turned in and had another attempt to catch up on our lost sleep.
Day 3, and this was the day we were due to embark on our cruise to Antarctica, but our embarkation time was 3 p.m, so we had time to kill before we headed to the port.
So after breakfast, we took a walk from the hotel, and a couple of blocks away, we encountered something special.
Well, it's our second day here in Buenos Aires. We've just checked out of our hotel and left our luggage there because we've got to wait another couple of hours before being picked up and taken to the cruise terminal. So we've just come down and having a bit more of an explore. Where we are now is beautiful, isn't it?
It's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that over there.
Okay, let's swing the camera around. Swing the camera around. Okay, can you see that? There you go. That, we think, is the government building, the National Congress, and a stunning building it is as well. So we've just got a few hours here. We're just going to have a wander and then head back to our hotel to get collected to the cruise terminal. Anything you want to do today?
Have a bit of relaxing, really. I'm starting to get a bit tired now.
Yeah, a lot of travelling.
Yeah.
A lot of travelling.
It was a good day yesterday, though.
Brilliant day, though, yesterday.
Brilliant, yeah.
Brilliant day. All right, stay with us and see what we can find this morning. We've just stumbled on the National Monument right opposite the Congress building. This looks amazing.
So this was a really beautiful part of the city, as if it needed any more, and the grandness of the architecture was simply mind-blowing.
We wandered down through the streets on this Sunday morning, and most things were shut. Buenos Aires does have plenty of street art to admire though, and this often expresses the frustrations of the population, and this example clearly demonstrates that.
As we explored further into one of the main shopping areas, some shops were opening and the streets were slowly filling.
We headed around back past the obelisk and towards the hotel, and we stumbled on a particularly quaint tea room called the Black Cat. A notable business within Buenos Aires, this tea room is famed for making its own blends of tea and coffee on the premises.
It's quite a thing, and the tea, coffee and cake clearly needed to be put to the Cook's Explore taste test. We've done a nice walk around the city centre, which was really good, and we've thought we'd come in for tea and cake just before we head off back to the hotel.
Give it a stir.
Wow, this looks amazing. Stir it up.
Can't take you anywhere.
Right, I've got to leave it there to stew now.
What you got there, Si?
Espresso and red fruit cheesecake. I don't remember, preach the forest.
What a pleasant experience, and we were really glad we found this place, and we both gave it 5 out of 5.
Then back to the hotel, and a local beer slipped down nicely whilst we made the most of the free hotel Wi-Fi, and the complimentary nuts were very tasty.
On time, our taxi arrived and sped us across the city to the cruise port, and we wondered what adventures lay ahead on board Norwegian Star. Would this cruise prove as much fun as we'd had in Buenos Aires with Pablo? Well, we certainly hope so.
If you've liked this video, why not drop us a comment in the box below? We always reply. And if you want to see more fun like this, why not subscribe? Thank you.